Welcome back to the TheFallenEagle mod. This time I will be playing as the Hunnic Empire, which is very fragile, like the Western Roman Empire. But in addition, I'm doing the 25-year challenge. This means that I only have 25 years to play normally. After that, I have to leave the game for another 25 years and can only watch and hope that my empire does not fall apart. And when I'm allowed to enter the game again, after 25 years, everything starts all over again. And so welcome to the Hunnic Empire and the game I can't control. And so began my journey to bring the Hunnic Empire to great power, or to fail miserably in the process. But first I was impressed by how much the mod has changed while I was still playing in the older version. Import glass? Holy shit, what? This mod is a completely different thing. What happened? Oh my god, that's amazing. The trade... What? Okay. Holy. And then I realized that I had turned off my DLCs. Now I start to manage my empire, and to be honest, I was surprised that my leader was leveled on diplomacy. I mean, he's a Hun. And for his ability to wage war, well, see for yourself. And somehow, his Hun isn't really much better at warfare. I think I'm beginning to understand why the Huns always fall apart so quickly. Besides, my development was anything but good. Yeah. Bro, we're underdeveloped as fuck. There's nothing. We're stupid. We're just stupid. Yeah. Oh my god! Yeah, that describes our situation pretty good. Oh, we're making improvements. Is there someone? Yeah, there's probably someone. How is it possible that a woman, nothing against women, but how is it possible that a woman, this Claudia, is the best marshal in the whole fucking court of the Huns? How is that possible? The poor development was of course also reflected in my income. My starting situation is also very tough, because I start while I'm at war with 10 barbaric tribes. And with the start of the war, I now had 25 years to win all the wars and then to stabilize the empire. The war started well, and I quickly conquered the first smaller territories. But despite the special soldiers I got at the beginning, it was almost impossible to win all the wars, and so I lost a few wars. Maybe it's because I'm used to different standards. Finally, I was about to conquer the last tribe, when a peasant uprising broke out and increased the war cost, which already had brought me into the red, because my armies were now being used even longer. But at least my vassals did not hate me, and I did not have to fear a civil war. Gradually, I succeeded in defeating the peasant uprising and bringing back peace to the empire after almost 10 years. Now it was the greatest challenge to stabilize the empire, to protect it as best as possible for the 25 years in which I could not intervene. I also conquered another small tribe and came dangerously close to the borders of the Eastern Roman Empire. Time passed and I conquered more small tribes in the north. However, this resulted in me being attacked by another tribe, which wanted to take advantage of the situation. But I managed to intercept their troops in front of my capital and win the war. I spent the rest of the time stabilizing the empire, and things were looking good. The Western Roman Empire was now completely collapsed, and the East was ruled by the 5-year-old Aurelius II. Rome was struggling, but by the year 420, I had to leave the empire to its own devices. At first, things went well, and the empire remained stable. It was even able to beat back a small independence faction. But with the death of Kagan Uldin and the takeover of the empire by his son Attila, dark times began, and a massive civil war shook the empire. After many long battles, Attila lost to the rebellious factions, and the northern parts of the empire were lost. But the rest of the empire remained stable, Oh, the Hunnic Empire is still intact. Oh, that. Oh. Oh.
And when I took over the administration again, I encountered some surprises.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Let's see. God, they all don't like me. Why is our capital suddenly... Okay, never mind.
The situation was still tense, and many vassals did not like me at all. But I was able to calm the situation down. I also formed some alliances to guarantee more security for the empire. The first buildings in the new capital were constructed, and slowly everything started to rise again. Attila was brave enough to start new wars, but it turned out to be too early for that. Because immediately afterwards I was attacked by Swainty, or however you pronounce that. After initial difficulties I managed to win my offense war, but now I had to send my armies quickly towards the capital, because the Swanetian armies were about to occupy my interior, and I could not lose it under any circumstances. But worse was to come. Another independence faction had formed and declared war on me. Now it was time to save the empire, but shortly after the first confrontation Attila died, and his son Alsek ascended the throne. Somehow the empire only continued to collapse under Attila. So he was certainly not feared. In this timeline, he just lost every war and the empire just collapsed under his rule. Interesting. Under the new leadership of Alsek, the empire achieved its first victories and pushed back the invaders. But as if the situation were not bad enough, a peasant uprising broke out. But the Hunnic armies did well, and I managed to get all the wars more or less under my control. In the next two battles, I was able to defeat my enemies decisively, and I captured an enemy banner, which I will hang in my royal court as a sign of my victory. So the first of the three wars was won. And when my armies moved towards the rebellious peasants, they ended the war. Cowards. I was about to defeat the last independence faction when more bad news arrived. Karl had declared war on me, and so had Transylvania. And the peasant uprising also took its opportunity to rebel again. Fortunately, I managed to win the war against my independence faction quickly. But this was only the beginning.